Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Canary, the Norwich City YouTube channel for the fans, by a fan. This is part 2 of the Norwich City campaign of 2021 in the Championship, where we were made champions, obviously. This video is slightly delayed. I do apologise about that. I've got finals at the moment, so that is a bit of an issue. And yeah, so this video has been slightly delayed, but let's get into it and let's get it done. So we're now in the midfielders and forwards stage. These are the guys that for the majority of our season got a lot of the credit and a lot of the hype around them. For the midfielders, it's going to be a very difficult one, obviously, to rate again. The ratings obviously go from 1 to 10. I'll be rating everyone that was in the squad, so I won't be rating loanees, obviously. And those who I feel didn't obviously do what they potentially should have done. But we've obviously got the first position we'll be looking at is obviously the number 10 spot. A difficult spot, it must be said. It's been a problem at Norwich for a while. You know, during the Premier League we had Duda come in try to fill it. He didn't fill it very well at all. I was not impressed with him. And this Championship season has been very much mixing and matching, putting guys in, see what they do, and see what we can get the most out of. We bought a couple of new midfield signings at the beginning of the season, which have made our life a lot easier, though, in terms of the depth of the squad. We don't have to worry so much. We don't have to play the high-level players in games that we don't need to. But we'll start with the number 10 position, and there's a couple of players we're going to have to go through, obviously. Obviously, we're going to start with number 7, the shirt number 7, obviously, Lucas Rupp. Signed in the winter of last season. He's now been here for a season and a half, and he did pick up some injuries during the season, which has limited his impact, but I feel as number 10 this season, he was solid whenever he was in. Now, I'm going to have to give him a 7, because he didn't play enough games to make a decisive impact. But he played a very small string of games where he did set up quite a few assists, and for the number 10 position, I would be very, very happy having him as our number 10, as our reservist in case prime number 10 gets injured. We need to have someone obviously fill in. He would be the one that I would look to do, because he's still good. He's very good. The Rupp Appreciation Society has got something behind it. I can see why they like this guy. But yeah, 7 for me. We've got to point out his assist for Oliver Skip. For Oliver Skip's first professional goal will never be forgotten. Absolute legend. Well and truly deserving of the Rupp Appreciation Society's claims. But yeah, 7 only because he didn't play enough. I can't give him any more than that. Number 8, Mario Rancic. My God, where would we be without the legendary Mario? The key player in so many seasons. His free kicks have always stunned and amazed the fans, and rightfully so. He's a hell of a player. He just knows what to do. This season has obviously been his last season, and we will miss Mario so much going into the future. He's been absolutely incredible these the seasons that we've had him. This season, he filled in the number 10 spot on occasion, and he was good. The assists he set up, the work he's obviously done. He's generally been a very, very good part of the team. He's been good to have. He's got the experience. He's got the depth. He obviously did a few goals. I think he scored a few free kicks. I can't remember who we were playing, but it was that one game we had to have a comeback for, and he set up both Josh Martin and Max Aarons over that Christmas period. Vital goals, and he's been brilliant. I would give him an 8. The only reason, obviously, I can't give him more again is because this is going to be a running theme throughout that midfield slot. We just haven't had anyone that's been able to hold down that position, just cement it solidly. And Rancic obviously he gets an 8 from me because he had more of an impact than Rupp did. But again, he just wasn't in there frequently enough to do the job. Number 10, Kieran Dowell. Dowlinho, as he's being referred to, by Talk Norwich City, which I don't blame them for personally. Kieran Dowell is someone who has stunned me in recent weeks. Now we signed him on a permanent from Everton. I think it was Everton at least. I know he'd been loaned out a few times to Championship clubs, and to be honest with you, that number 10 position looks like it's filled by him. He played, I think it was the last 10 games, and if you look at that midfield slot, because we know how Farke plays those front three midfielders. He likes to have them weaving and working their way around the midfield. He doesn't like this idea of them being in their position. He doesn't like them just being on the left or the right or in the midfield. He likes them just sort of weaving and bobbing about, trying to find space so they can get the passes off. Obviously, he likes them to remain within some sort of area. But for the most part, he just says, right, go there, be free, just look for space. Look for space so you can obviously get in positions, we can get the passes off, so we can get the play going nicely. Dowell, for me, brought that middle of the park position to life in the last 10 games. The games I look to most of all would definitely be the likes of the Huddersfield game, where it was middle of the park and everything was running by him and he was just doing it. His goal set up with Buendia. His chip over the top, Buendia getting on the end, passing the ball inside, Dowell taps it into the goal. It's those kind of stuff. Kieran Dowell for me looks like he is just nothing but rich, untapped potential. Midfield masterclass. He looks like he's got it in him. Them free kicks that he was taking, I think it was the free kick against Wycombe Wanderers, where he just buried it in that top corner. The ball was already in the back of the net, and the keeper was only halfway through the dive. The keeper didn't know what the hell had happened. He looks absolutely lethal when he's buying these free kicks. He looks lethal when he's taking shots from long distance. He can place his passes nicely. He can create. He can obviously, put balls over the top. He looks like, for that midfield spot, he looks like something that I would want to take in the Premier League, and I would say, yes, that midfield now looks like it is full of Premier League talent. If you were to take those starting three midfielders, you'd have Toddy on the left, down in the middle, Buendia on the right. That is the formation that I would take going into any major Premier League match, because those three have just put together such a string of really powerful games that they just look like they're going to be the thing. For me, Dowley gets an 8 going on a 9, an 8.5, right? Obviously, because of the injuries, I couldn't give him more. If we'd have had him all season, my God, we would have been taking it to teams. We would have just been doing that all the time. But again, we've suffered because, again, injuries. But we had the depth. We had the depth that we could put Rupp in, we could put Rancic in. Hell, we even put Stieperman in the side. I'll get to his Stieperman in a second. And yeah, that's for now 8.5, solid. I like what we got. We've got so much potential coming out of him. Going into next season, I'd love to see what he does. Step that level up. If you could bury it one against Everton, we'll take that kindly. Marco Stieperman, number 18. I love and I hate Marco Stieperman at the same time, and hate is a very strong word. I don't hate him as I hate him. I have a love-hate relationship with the man because he can be so good, but in recent years he's just become slightly inconsistent. This championship season, you can only give him a 5 this championship season. He's played a handful of times, and even though he just didn't look like he was on it. He looked a bit out of shape. He had to go away obviously because he obviously picked up both a concussion, and then he had a virus. I think he was obviously had I think he might have had COVID, and then that obviously hit him really, really hard. So he's been unable to play. I think you aren't going to get much more out of Stieperman. I think he's 28 now, going on 29. You're not going to get much more out of him. I think he's one that is going to go this summer. Wouldn't surprise me. But I can only give him a 5. He just didn't play. He just didn't play 11 regular games, and I can't remember him doing anything completely phenomenal or anything that was even slightly out there. So now I'm going to have to quickly go back because I forgot to do the CDMs because I'm a little bit of a numpty. So you are going to have to. I do apologise on that front. CDMs. So obviously we have a number of holding midfielders which we use, but there's 2 that always start. And one of those is number 23, Kenny Mclean. Na 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 na. Kenny Mclean. You know, yep. Kenny Mclean for me this season is a 9. Okay. Many people might feel that rating is slightly too much. Occasionally he was a bit inconsistent. Sometimes he had very off games. But the thing about it is that even when he had good games, he was a bit overshadowed by other players. I mean, there's no denying. I think it was like the Wickham game. It might have been another game. He set up 2 goals. You know, he came back from injury and put the ball in against Brentford when we were away. You know, he's been there, right? He's been there, and he has been a solid part of that midfield. You know, it was very. You know, he's just like it's. It's because he's not one of the flashy players, but he's a solid player. He's always there. He always puts a shift in. Even if he isn't playing very well, he still tries. He still puts a shift in. For me, it's a 9 for Kenny Mclean. He's been absolutely... I think he's been absolute rock. He's been... You know, he's allowed to go slightly forward. He's always making good passes, always making good decisions, and he's always helping come back to defend, obviously. Definitely when we keep him next season, I wouldn't want to go into the Premier League without him. Oh man, number 20, the other holding midfielder, the other CDM, Oliver Skipp. Please sign this man again next season. We will not survive without him. What the hell is Tottenham doing not playing him? Like, you've got Eric Dyer as a centre-back, right? And yet you've got, right, this guy, okay, who was a CDM masterclass, right? Your defensive troubles wouldn't be that bad, right? If you put Oliver Skipp in there. I'm absolutely bloody amazed that, you know, they're not just saying no, because there is some word that that Skippy may potentially be coming back. I'm going to try and give you guys as much update on that as I can as it comes. But as to his 2021 performance, 10. 10 out of 10. Got man of the match on the first day of the season. Has been nothing but an absolute unit the entire year. Unfortunately, alongside Mclean, has picked up an injury towards the end of the season, at the arse end of the season. But you cannot take away from the fact that he has been absolutely bloody phenomenal. Defensively, solid. I know our defenders have been absolutely brilliant this season, but there hasn't been a guy like Skipp in this Norwich team I can remember for a long time. Back and forth, up and down, literally going between the 2 boxes. Solid. Controlling the park, excellent placed passes, tackles coming in, constant pressure. You know, there was a reason why the likes of Ivan Toney didn't get a single. I think he only got like 1 shot off against us when he came to Carrow Road, and that's because the guys that normally feed him from the midfield couldn't feed him. 1, because of Kenny Mclean, and 2, because Oliver Skipp kept shutting them down. He kept getting in their face. Also helped because Hanley was pocketing Tony the entire time, but that is also just another part. But it was the fact that we had that defensive wall, and then in front of that we have that kind of defensive, the extra defence in front of it, and Skipp has been a key part of that. I will go on so far as to say, okay, I am not normally one, right, to brag about our players, okay? They're absolutely phenomenal, right? You know, when they get to the Premier League, though, it is going to be a struggle. I'm going to put it out there. Oliver Skipp, right? He's a better CDM than what's his face, McTominay, the whole midfield from Manchester. He's better than Fred, I think. Getting in people's faces and shutting them down. And I think if we can get him again, and get him back into the squad, right? And get him back in that CDM role once he's come back from his injury. We will be an absolutely rock solid defensive unit. because he will get in the faces of players and shut them down. You won't see the likes of De Bruyne and Fernandes taking shots from about 30 yards out because they won't be able to, because he will be there. He'll be shutting them down. He'll be getting in their face and saying, you aren't taking a shot from this distance because I'm not going to let you. You won't have what we had at the end of last season when De Bruyne fired in that one into the top corner from outside the box. That would never have happened because Skip and Mclean will, their new defensive styles will be allowing us to move forward, shut down long distance attackers, and it will allow us to also stop balls from coming through a lot easier because you'll just have all these men in the way. Skip is a 10 for me, and I love what's happening. And now I'm going to make myself sad. I really am. Number 27, Alex Tete. Alex Tete, my God, Alex Tete. Where would we be without him? 9 years of joy, unparalleled joy and commitment. He's a Norwich servant, and I'm determined that I will set up a Patreon, or not Patreon, sorry, I get a petition up to Norwich to get the man a statue and get GoFundMe to get Tete a statue because he deserves a statue. Because he's been with us through thick and thin. He is tough. He goes. He works, and occasionally he thumps something out of his right foot that just, every time the Premier League do a best goals of the Premier League compilation, Alex Tete is on there having thumped in that wild shot against Sunderland, and you can't take that away from him. The man's getting a 10 for me based solely on the fact that he is Alex Tete, right? Okay, fight me on that front, don't care. He's played a few times this season coming off the bench, and, he started obviously the game against Barnsley, no, but 10, fight me. Left midfielders on that left side of the pitch, we have Todd Campbell there, so it was always going to be very hard to dislodge Campbell, but we did buy a couple of new signings, and we already had a few players here. Obviously, Toddy is a start point. Number 14, Todd Campbell, absolutely a 9.5. A 9.5, moments of magic. He could strike from out of nowhere. He could just come from out of nowhere and just absolutely bury it in the top corner, bottom corner, you name it. Very, very hard to dislodge, and a solid part of the club. I love taking him out next season. I hope to God that we don't get anyone try to drag him away during the summer. What else could be said about Sonny? I mean, obviously he had some wicked goals this season. He played well. He was smart. He went through that period as well during the midpoint of the season where he was literally just dancing around other players in the midfield section. He was just bossing it. He went on that amazing run of form. He's been amazing all season. He's been brilliant. 9.5 for Toddy. I've also quickly forgot to mention Jacob Sorensen in the CDM position, so I'm going to quickly come back and do him. Number 19, Jacob Sorensen. I do apologise. Gets a 7 for me as CDM. Didn't play there nearly enough for my liking, but like I say, I did in my defenders video. He's a left back. He plays a left back, and he was solid in left back. So that's for him. Number 11, Presmalaus, but I can't even say his first name. Bugrip, PP. Rapid Flechetta. Bloody hell, that man can run. That man can just go. When we signed Plachetta, I was happy, very happy, because this Norwich side in the recent years has lacked a little bit of pace going forward, and Plachetta is obviously going to give us that. He seems like a bit of a untuned. The potential is there. Put it that way. He seems like he's like an F1. It's like an F1 car. He's got the gearbox, and he's got the steering, but he isn't that fine-tuned machine that he could be. This guy's got the potential to obviously put his foot down and just run. And we saw it a few times. I think the problem with, I mean, obviously he got a goal near the start of the season. It was a brilliant goal. I didn't expect it to happen, but I think I think sometimes he doubts himself to take on players. Like, I noticed a number of right backs who were absolutely sweating balls because we were bringing him on as an impact sub, and they were just going, "I've been knackered because I've been running against Campbell. I'm trying to mark Campbell and a couple of other midfielders, and then the right backs, which was either Quintia, Sorensen, or Janulis, and now you're bringing on Placheta, who is quicker than any of those guys." He could have taken on players far, far, far easier. I want to see him do what like Hernandez does. I want to see him cut inside, bring it onto his right foot, and try and fire a shot in. We saw it against Huddersfield. He almost got a goal, which he literally just pinged off his left foot, which nearly caught the keeper by surprise. I so wish that would have gone in because that done wonders for his confidence. Bruschetta does get a 7 for me. Doesn't play a massive role this season, but like with Dowell, there are sparks of potential there which I am looking at, and I'm thinking to myself, if we can get the most out of this kid, we will be in plain sailing. So yeah, 7 for him. Number 21, Josh Martin. Martin played a pretty big part in the early phases of our campaign. He was largely an impact sub, though he did start a couple of games, and I was happy. I'm happy with what I see with Josh Martin. He looks like he plays a bit like Cantwell. He's got them flashes of brilliance that he can do. He controls well. He dribbles it well. He looks like at any moment he could just strike and either top bin it, bottom corner. His goals. His goal from the assist from Rancic, which just started our comeback, was brilliant. The equaliser. We've seen he can obviously do free kicks. He looks like a really good talent, and I wish the guy would get more time. I wish he'd get more time, and I wish that he'd be able to make the most. He'd be able to get the most opportunity out of him. For me, it is another 7, 6.5 sort of thing. It's just he just didn't play frequently enough for me. He didn't play frequently enough, but when he did play, he was good. That's the key thing. He didn't play often, but when he played, he was good. Hernandez, 25, gets a 7. He's the last left mid that I can think of we're looking at. Mostly an impact sub. I don't know. I mean, I wish he'd been given more time on the field. I mean, I love watching him cut back. I love watching him break down the wing, then cut inside. Because I think every time he's going to just have a shot, and I wish he would just take a shot, because he would probably bury it more times than not. We've seen him do it against Man United. We know what he can do. I just wish he got more opportunities this season. Just hasn't had enough, in my opinion. Yeah, so that's like the left backs, or it's not left backs, left mids, midfielder sort of done. Right mids, 17, Emi Buendia from Argentina. He came to City from sunny Spain. He's 5'7". He's football heaven. Please don't take him away. Please, Arsenal, bugger off. I'm looking at you, bugger off. He won't want to go there anyway. He's got Villarreal staring at him. Buendia, 17. Number 17, 10 out of 10. Out of 10, out of 10, out of 10, out of 10. What could you say about this man that hasn't already been said? Phenomenal on the ball, phenomenal off the ball, phenomenal pressure, phenomenal shooting, phenomenal passing, phenomenal everything. Brain. 10 out of 10. Say what you want about his attitude at the start of the season. Say what you want about the fact he picked up a couple of red cards. The fact he could be occasionally unpredictable. Couldn't give less for crap, right? Guy's a 10 out of 10 phenomenal. We are so lucky to have him still at the club. He is almost our version of Jack Grealish. And only the only reason why he isn't is because they play slightly different styles. For me, he's a 10 out of 10. He's Championship Player of the Season. What that just tells you what you need to know. The fact that he got Championship Player of the Season over a record goal breaker like Ivan Tovey should just tell you something. I can't remember the number. I think it was 17 goals and 20 assists, or something stupid like that. I can't remember, but why? How could you not? He is stupidly good. He is stupidly good. Well, that finishes up the midfielders. I'm probably going to do the strikers as part of a separate video now, because this video is already 25 minutes long. Yeah, but our midfield this season, just a quick before we go, our midfield has been absolutely phenomenal this season. We've now got so much depth behind it. We've got a few players out on loan. We've got Daniel Sinani's out on loan. We've got Louis Thompson, who's out on loan, who's looking good. Melvin City has obviously been playing in the under-23s. He's looking absolutely phenomenal. I'm really chuffed with the way that one's looking. Obviously, we've got Morris Lyons that's still sitting around, and Tom Tribal. I don't think those two are going to be at the club next season. I think Tom Tribal was sent out on loan simply so that he can get some kind of financial boost, so we can try to sell him on the cheap. Or we can at least sell him for something back, which is a shame really, because those two were both really good as part of our Championship season, and they were both looking good in the early parts of the Premier League before that unfortunate decline. I think personally the signing of Oliver Skipp back will make our midfield phenomenal for next season. We've got the depth. We've got the manpower. We can now think about going forward properly and making this side what it needs to be in terms of midfield aspect. That'll be the midfielders. I'm going to do forward separately. That will probably be done directly after this video. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching, guys. Like, share and subscribe if you think you enjoyed the video. Comment down below if you think my ratings were good, bad, or just completely bonkers. And yeah, obviously, come on, you yellows. See you next time.